What's going on, guys? BossOP6 here, back to another video, and today I'm here to do my Raw review from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Apologies for that. I do want to say, sorry if this is a little bit late. I had some people calling me and I had to take care of stuff, but holy shit, you want to talk about a crowd? This place was basically sold out, except for maybe 200 or so people. This place was jam-packed to the brim. And Jesus, Lord have mercy. Sorry, I have to plug in my computer so it doesn't die on me. Good God Almighty. This show was solid for the most part. Not storyline heavy as it was last week, but the wrestling made up for it. And God damn, was this crowd ever hot. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this. We're 2 weeks away from Extreme Rules, and so far, cards are looking pretty fucking stacked here, folks, but I'll get my predictions maybe after SmackDown in a couple weeks. But we start off with Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka coming down. Then we get a brief recap of what happened last week. And Bianca says it should have just been one-on-one last week. And, you know, Bayley loves to run her mouth and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, Damage Control comes down. Did I hear you call my name? And Bayley just doing great shit as she always does. Talks about how everything was spoon-fed to Bianca and Bayley had to scratch and claw her way up to the top. And Bianca says, I was at my peak when you were in rehab. And she says, I remember giving you a KOD on a ladder inside Hell in a Cell, and you're still up in your feels about that. And you know what? How about we have a ladder match at Extreme Rules? Okay. I don't... Look, they've been doing a fuck ton of ladder matches lately to a point where it's really becoming a massive liability. But, okay. At least there's at least a story here, and they're just gonna do shit for the sake of doing it. And, Bianca says... she's wanting to get extreme with Io. I've seen this movie before, and it should have been me. Bianca versus Io. Okay, it wasn't bad. Io did seem a bit off sometimes, which was kind of odd to think. After the break, though, after the first commercial break, Solo and Sammy and those sunglasses, they arrive. More on here in a little bit. Again, it wasn't bad. Io at one point tried to wrap Bianca's braid around her leg at one point. And then Bianca takes out Damage Control, and then KOD 1, 2, 3. And Bianca wins. Okay, I have a question though. Why was Alexa and Asuka there? Because Bianca just basically took out all of Damage Control by herself, basically. Like, there was no beatdown, there was no interference afterwards. Okay, I guess just to prevent the interference, but I'm probably just thinking about it. So, Ray's backstage and talking about this whole shit with Dominic and Judgment Day, and says, you know what, Patrick, you're a father too. This isn't my son. It's because Rhea's got him brainwashed and all this shit. This is so fucking forced. This is so forced. I don't care. Ray's taking on Seth tonight. Hopefully it's not an eye versus eye match. Thank God it wasn't. Miz is backstage and security is there. He calls them the Miz Force. And I thought the Power Rangers was starting to get lazy with the titles. He says, I didn't go for the big, bulky, brainless guys. I went for the smart guys. About that. So Miz comes down. Or not Miz. Seth comes down. And a mini recap of last week. And then he talks about last week. He says, I should have been U.S. champion, but unfortunately really likes to stick his nose in my business. And Seth is just having a fucking blast with this. He literally has the crowd in the palm of his hand. And he talks about how dangerous the fight pit is. And, you know, Riddle, you used to be an MMA fighter and all this stuff. But guess what? You're not an MMA fighter anymore. You are a wrestler. And Seth says, I have what Riddle doesn't have. I have the wit. I have the brain. And he says, after Extreme Rules, I'll be king of the fight pit. And then he says, well, no, now that I'm done talking about Riddle for now, how about we talk about Ray being a father? And then here comes Ray. He comes down. And then we get Ray versus Seth. Well, this is better than Eye versus Eye match because at least nobody got the fucking eye taken out. Seth did get busted open on the forehead at one point. Hopefully it wasn't anything major. Then Dominic comes out with the chair. And then... God, Edmonton, I love you guys. Dominic's useless chance by the crowd, that was fucking hilarious. There was a Hurricane Rana, like, Ray went for the Hurricane Rana off the top, but Seth tried to go for a power bomb, but then it turned into a Hurricane Rana off the top. I always love that move. 619, but Seth rolls out. He gets sent on to the outside, or sent on to the outside. Dominic interferes. And then he gives Ray the chair. He wants him to hit him. And then Rhea shows up. And then a stomp. And then Seth uses the proverbial necktie. That was pretty interesting. And there you go. Seth wins. Because the only way you can win by a fight pit is pinfall submission or surrender or something like that. And there you go. That was some good shit. And, okay. So Riddle's backstage, he was watching this, and then Lashley shows up. He's like, well, from one MMA fighter to another, beat Seth's ass, but I will say never interfere in my matches again. Okay, Mr. Steele, because that's basically what you're called. Because Lashley, how the fuck is he in his mid-40s, mid to late 40s, and still looks the same? Genetics be damned, ladies and gentlemen. So Gargano and Owens are walking backstage, and a security member's taken out. I wonder who's doing this. Academy come down. They come down with the American flags to get a little bit of heat. Gargano comes down, and then Owens gets a massive pop. He gets the biggest pop of the night, besides another one later on. Owens is so goddamn over with the crowd. Academy versus Gargano and Owens. It wasn't bad, I just didn't give a shit about it, in all honesty. Remember when Gable could have been Kurt Angle's prodigy, but then they decided to go with Jason Jordan for some reason? Nothing against Jordan, it's just Gable is right there, and yet you went with Jordan. I feel bad for Jordan, he won't be able to wrestle again, but... Anyways, it wasn't bad, I mean... Owens got a sharpshooter at one point, and the crowd just went mental. And then towards the end of the match, Owens does an elbow through a table to Otis. That got a big pop. And then all of a sudden, Theory shows up, and you think, oh, Theory's going to cost Gargano and Owens the match, but nope, to no avail. In the end, Gargano gets the pin anyway. Cool, we're still continuing this. So, Styles is backstage, and our security guard is taken out. And then Balor shows up. And he says, well, we were good friends. Why aren't you wanting to join the club? It's because I don't want to. So Academy of Theory are backstage, and he says, I didn't want to team with a bunch of losers and all this stuff, and yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden... Theory's phone goes off. Apparently Strowman called him. Okay. And then he says, make sure Gable's ready for next week because we're having a match in his hometown. Okay, somebody pointed this out on Twitter, and they're actually right. First of all, how did Strowman get Theory's number? And second of all, how did he know that Alpha Academy was with Theory? I mean, if you're hanging around with the people on a day-to-day basis, you can assume that they're with them. Okay, that match is happening. I thought Braun was on SmackDown, but the brand split means fucking all at this point. Almost took on local talent and won. Cool. Almost sucks. Nothing against him personally. He's just not a good wrestler. And then MVP is on commentary, and he puts the two enhancement talent on the table and almost about falls getting on top of the announce table, which was kind of funny. Miz is backstage, and all of his force is taken out in a very comical fashion. The way they're just like scattered all over the place is pretty fucking hilarious. Loomis is in a goalie outfit. What? I would have never guessed. And then he just stares at Miz, and Miz is like, oh, not this shit again. Then he attacks Miz with the goalie stick and puts him in the silence. I mean, Lewis is there for the memes, I want to assume. This feud's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. If you guys like the feud, more power to you. This feud's just stupid. Like, why is he going after Miz? Like, they never explain it. So we come back from break and we get a recap of what just happened. Nikki's in the ring, and apparently she was supposed to take on Piper, and all of a sudden Candice LeRae is here. Okay. Look, nothing against LeRae. It's just the stuff with the way was so fucking annoying. She looks great. I mean, fuck, if Becky got back from the ring, back from pregnancy and got better in the ring, then I'm willing to bet Candice is doing the same thing too. So yeah, she took on Nikki and won. Okay, the crowd didn't know how to react to it. Like, they popped, but they were kind of mild for it. Okay. We knew she was going to appear at some point. I mean, if you guys like it, cool. It's whatever. Then we go Logan Paul video package. Reigns deserves better. That match is going to be ass. It should be fine, like, in-ring wise, but the fact that Logan fucking Paul, of all celebrities, is getting a match is fucking ludicrous. So, the Judgment Day are backstage, and Priest is like, I don't want, well, I'm taking a Riddle night. Riddle, don't you dare embarrass me on my birthday. About that. Happy birthday, Priest. So, Zayn gets a pop. We get a recap of what happened on SmackDown. Styles versus Zayn with Solo Sikoa. It wasn't bad. There was a pretty cool single Pumpino Orange Crush by Sammy. That was pretty damn good. Styles was bleeding on the jawline. Like, and even Triple H says, oh, we're not doing blood anymore. And yet, these guys are, like, getting gashed randomly. I don't know why. I thought that was kind of funny. And for the people that are saying, oh, come on, we need blood. We're starting to move to a point where is blood really necessary? Unless it's a feud that absolutely deserves it, then go for it. But if you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, it's not really that special anymore. Eventually, Solo interferes. Styles almost gets counted out at one point. Solo interferes. A brutal Uranagi on the apron. Haluva kick, 1, 2, 3. Sammy wins. Sammy really hasn't gotten any wins lately, too. So I'm kind of glad they got a win here. Then Judgment Day come down. And Balor wants Styles to join Judgment Day. Rise up and join Judgment Day. They do the 2 sweep, but Styles flips him off, which I thought was kind of cool. Then it's a 4-on-1 beatdown. Then they get a chair on the neck. Finn goes to stomp. Finn stops and he says, I could end your career right now, but I'll wait till later. So we're going to get a feud between the two, which I wouldn't mind, but this Judgment Day shit's really overstaying its welcome. Then we get Cena being a good guy. He granted 650 wishes, which is a Guinness world record. Good for John. As much shit as a lot of people have given Cena for being in ring, he's a great fucking guy. So we get Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka backstage, and Candice shows up, and they're like, hey, you're finally here. Yay, you're on the main roster. And, congrats on getting your win tonight. And all of a sudden, Damage Control show up. And they're like, oh yeah, congratulations. And also, there are people saying that, this whole White Rabbit thing going on, and these weird things, it could be Bray Wyatt, it could be not. Apparently, the buzzard was in the background Look, I understand if it's Bray Wyatt, fine. Because they really fucked them over. They really did. Cool. Dakota's going to be taking on Candice next week. That's basically the gist of this. And then we get Riddle versus Priest. It wasn't bad. Riddle's a good athlete. He's just an idiot. And Priest is a good athlete, but they just don't know what the fuck they're doing with him. There were some good counters throughout the entire match. It was actually a pretty damn good match. There was a broken arrow on the barricade. Ouch, that looked like that hurt. Riddle gets the bro Derek, but a kick out. And all of a sudden a roll up, a kind of unique roll up, and Riddle gets the win. And an immediate beatdown afterwards. And then Priest hits my favorite Slayer album. And then all of a sudden Edge shows up to a big pop, spears Priest and Balor, and then he looks at Dominic, but Rhea pulls him out of the ring. And then he says to Finn, "You know what? We have a lot of unfinished business, Dominic. I'll get to you later. Finn, we're going to meet each other for the first time in an I Quit match." Okay. Again, the card's looking pretty damn stacked, so there you go. We're going to have an I Quit match between Edge and Finn. Please don't let it go for more than 25 minutes, please, because that's kind of a thing with I Quit matches. They go on for a bit too long. So, yeah, that's just my thing. So, anyways, what did you guys think about the show? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Tap the little bell for more notifications. Join her. Talk in the next video. Peace out.